If you've ever watched a perfect setup explode without you after your finger froze on the mouse, this isn't about discipline. It's about how your brain learned to stay safe. You're not freezing because you're inexperienced. You're freezing because you care too much. The room is quiet. You hear the low hum of your computer fan, maybe your own breathing. You've been staring at the same chart for days. 4-hour time frame. Levels marked, liquidity mapped, news checked, everything done right. And then it happens. Price reaches your level. The candle taps your zone. RSI lines up. Trend structure holds. This is it, the exact setup you promised yourself you'd take. Your mouse is already there, hovering, one click away. And suddenly, your finger feels heavy. Not unsure, not confused, heavy. You don't leave, you don't look away, you just stop. And right there, that moment is where most trading careers quietly die. You tell yourself you're being patient. You say, I'll wait for this candle to close. It closes strong, so you say, okay, just a small retest. There is no retest. Price launches, 20 pips, 50, 100. You don't feel angry, you feel empty. Because the worst part isn't missing the money, it's knowing you saw it coming and still didn't move. And that's the part nobody wants to talk about. We spend thousands on courses, we buy indicators, we obsess over entries, confirmations, and edge. But none of that matters if, at the moment of truth, you turn into a spectator. And here's the uncomfortable truth. This isn't a strategy problem, it's a survival problem. Your brain does not care about your P&L. It doesn't care about your freedom, your goals, or the life you're trying to build. Its only job is to protect you from pain. And to your nervous system, a losing trade is not just money, it's a threat. Before you ever clicked the chart, the war already started inside you. There's a quiet voice in the background asking questions you didn't invite. What if this is the one that fails? What if you're wrong again? What if you take it and feel stupid in 5 minutes? That voice isn't weakness, it's biology. Your brain processes loss the same way it once processed predators. A stop loss triggers the same chemical response as danger. Fight, flight, freeze. You can't fight the market. You can't run from the chart. So your system chooses the only option left: stillness. That's why freezing feels physical. Tight chest, shallow breath, a strange hesitation that doesn't respond to logic. And here's the lie your brain sells you in that moment. Missing the trade is safer than taking it. Think about it. If you miss a trade, the pain is short. 10 minutes of frustration, a little FOMO, then it fades. But if you take the trade and it loses, that can live in your head for days. It messes with your confidence. You question your strategy. You question yourself. So your subconscious runs the math instantly. 10 minutes of regret or 3 days of self-doubt. And every time, it chooses the smaller pain. That's why you freeze. Not because you're scared of losing money, but because you're scared of how it will feel to be wrong. And the more experience you gain, the worse this can get, because now you have memories. The breakout that failed, the perfect setup that stopped you out by 1 pip, the time you trusted the process and paid for it. So when the next clean setup appears, you're not seeing the chart, you're seeing ghosts. You're projecting the past onto the present, treating the market like it remembers you. It doesn't. The market doesn't know who you are. It doesn't know your entry. It doesn't know what happened last week. Every trade is a completely unique event. But when you freeze, you're letting a dead version of yourself control a living moment. And here's something that should sting a little. Notice how fast you can execute when you're emotional, when you're angry, when you're revenge trading. Suddenly, there's no hesitation, no fear, no waiting. Because in those moments, you're not trying to protect yourself. You're trying to escape discomfort. Freezing only happens when you care too much about being right, and that's the core problem. You're emotionally attached to outcomes instead of execution. Professional traders don't eliminate fear. They eliminate decision-making at the moment fear shows up. They already accepted the loss before the setup appeared. Loss included, no negotiation. Here's the shift that changes everything. A missed trade and a losing trade cost the same. If your plan said that move was worth $1,000 and you didn't take it, your net worth is $1,000 lower than it should be. Your account does not care why the money isn't there. We treat losing like a crime and missing like an accident, but financially, they are identical. So if you want to stop freezing, you have to flip the pain equation. Inaction must become more expensive than action. That doesn't mean forcing confidence. Confidence is fragile. It disappears under pressure. Preparation doesn't. And here's the actual solution. One solution, not 10 hacks. Lower the cost of being wrong. If you're freezing, your size is too big, period. If a single loss feels like it threatens your identity, of course your brain will shut you down. Reduce the risk until the outcome feels boring. Trade so small it feels almost meaningless. 0.01 lots if you have to. Not to make money, but to rebuild execution. Because execution is a muscle. Every time you click according to plan, win or lose, that muscle gets stronger. Every time you hesitate, it weakens. The goal is not to feel fearless. The goal is to make clicking emotionally neutral. The next time you feel that weight in your finger, pause for one breath and ask yourself one question. Am I trading the chart in front of me or the fear behind me? Big moves don't wait for comfort. They don't care about your confidence level. They happen when liquidity is there. If you want to catch them, you don't need more indicators. You don't need more confirmation. You need fewer emotions involved in execution. Because the real reason traders freeze isn't lack of knowledge. It's unresolved emotional memory controlling the present moment. Kill that, and the chart stops being a test. It becomes just another execution. The next setup will show you this. You'll feel the pause, the weight in your hand, and in that moment, you won't be confused anymore. You'll know exactly what's happening before you decide whether you execute or stay safe.